Well, the Olympics in Tokyo, Japan will be starting here in roughly a month, and there's already a story going on here. Sha'Carri Richardson, who's really good at what she does, one of the most talented people in track, well, she tested positive for marijuana, and she did so knowing the rules, apparently. She had a death in her family, and she needed something to, to cope with that. I get all of that, but you also know that you're running for something, and there is a rule in place, and it's different than your state, which makes it legal. This is about the IOC. So, Will, you're going to be covering all of this. I imagine she's going to be available at some point of these Olympic Games, but what's your position on the penalty? A lot of people think that's a terrible rule. It might be, but it is the rule, isn't it?
Well, I think both things can be true. I think the fact that you're penalizing people for marijuana in 2021 is outdated, but I also think that if you know you've qualified for the Olympics, and if you know, like, hey, to go to the Olympics, I got to make sure I don't do X, 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 and X, I'd be pretty sure that I would not do X, 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 and X. Look, let's be honest, there's been a modification. The penalty used to be far stricter, and what people don't know is that marijuana can be used as a masking agent for other drugs. Look, credit to her. I saw her Today Show appearance. We all do stupid stuff at 21. I'm 46. I do stupid stuff at 46. It is not like the world's worst thing that ever happened here that she did this. Okay, I don't know what her grief is. I don't know what her coping mechanisms are, and I'm not even judging what she did. However, like the idea that somehow, she made a mistake, and she made a mistake, and she said it. The fact that other people are picking up the torch for her is sort of weird. She did the crime. She's going to do the time. It's going to cost her, but she's 21, and hopefully this is like the one time in her career. You see Allison Felix in her mid-30s still competing. So this is not the defining moment of this young woman's career. Hopefully it's a chance for USADA or WADA to readdress sort of the penalty form of this and maybe figure out ways going forward to not have this happen again.
I think
we
this
all
thing
know,
is...
Bob, go ahead, Paul. We all know I love America. And I love America a lot. And on this Independence Day, Bob, I'm here to tell you we need to be independent of testing athletes for marijuana. What in the world are we doing? Now, a lot of what Will said is correct. She knew the rules and she broke the rules. Why are we spending manpower hours, dollars, or anything else on testing athletes for marijuana when big business in this country is getting rich, and all these guys who live in big houses keep getting rich and more rich and even richer off of marijuana? I don't understand it. Again, I understand there were rules, but it is totally ridiculous we're spending any manpower hours or money testing athletes for marijuana.
Well, just to know, it is the IOC. It is a specific organization, and they have the rules. It's not necessarily this country. But go ahead, Paul.
And I think the other thing is, as Will said, this has been conveniently ignored the entire week. Marijuana can be a masking agent for other drugs that are, a little bit more in terms of performance enhancing or whatever you want to say. I agree. Testing, the marijuana thing is silly. I like how this young woman has handled this whole thing. Right. People are far more outraged around her than she is. Yep. She says she made a mistake. And it is what it is. And actually, in reading about it, it sounds like there's actually going to be a resolution to this that we can all live with, because she can still be a part of the 4x100 team and probably will win her gold medal that way. So everybody will be rooting for her, and that'll be fine.
And part of the problem with this is the fact that if you look at the NFL, the NBA, the players had bargaining power to basically, the NBA doesn't penalize for marijuana anymore. But the track athletes, other Olympic sports, they don't have this. They don't have a union. They don't have the chance to collective bargain with the IOC or the whatever the IAAF to sort of figure out like what is legal and what isn't. So that's part of one of the other dynamics here is that like in professional sports leagues in the United States, these athletes have the power to go to the ownership and say, hey, we want to modify the system. The athletes in track do not.
Right. And the system is. Well, go ahead, Colin. I was going to say, just like the Steelers and the NFL guys know that they're going to be tested before you ever become into their protocol or whatever. You have to fail the test, but you know when the test is coming. If you know when the test is coming, then don't be high on marijuana or don't use it. Once the test is administered and you pass, then you can do it until next March. So
I get all that. I can't believe we're at a place in society where we're still, and this is the bigger issue that needs to be taken care of. I understand this one instance, and yes, she didn't play by the rules, but in a wide swathing form and in totality, why are we wasting time testing anybody for marijuana anymore in any realm? Why is that happening?
But again, I think because the IOC, and it's a very specific thing when it comes to track athletes and other athletes, there can be a masking element.
Show me all the people that hit other stuff using marijuana. How many times has that happened?
There are definitely. It's never happened, Colin. That's why that's why they're testing for it. It's never happened. It couldn't happen. You're right. What are we talking about here? Obviously, it has happened in the past, which is why they are still doing it. Now, I don't agree with it. I don't like it. But you're acting like they're just doing this thing completely randomly, and there's absolutely no rationale for it. There is a rationale for it. There have been a number of things that people have used over the years that have been used as masking agents that are on the list. And if you look at it, you say, well, why is this outlawed? That's why. And that's the point.
The whole thing in the Winter Olympics, right? Those snowboarders. Then I'll tell you that much.
They do, but they do, Colin. They do test the snowboarders.
They do. They test everybody. That's the point. The whole point is these. Again, if they want to change the rule, change the rule. That's fine. I think the thing we're missing here, more than anything, Will hit on it. I hit on it. This young lady has handled it like a champion. She didn't, claim that, somebody had some NyQuil and urinated on hay and she ate it, and that's how that's got in her system. Okay, she didn't do that. She basically said, "I did it."
The penalty has also been modified. It used to be like a couple of years for a positive marijuana test.
Reduced it.
We've gotten it down to 30 days.
30 days.
So there is at least progress on this thing.
I just got a note here that we're all going to be randomly tested here after the show, so there'll be a couple around here soon.
It's the 4th of July.
Take care of it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Steelers. Believe it or not, training camp is right around the corner. We're going to talk about where they are and what offensive player, not named Roethlisberger, is the most important offensive player to the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2021. That's next, right here on KDKA.